morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is July the 25th, 2026, and we are live. It's so good to be a part of this great day. First of all, thank God for another day. And I am so grateful because today is race day. Really, all week has been race week, and we're going to continue into tomorrow. So you still have time to lace up those shoes or your boots. You know the song, put on your backpack. It's time to ride. But in this case, it's time to run, walk, jog, whatever you decide to do. And what we are running for, or walking for, or racing for is shattering the stigma, and it is shattering the stigma against human trafficking. This is our international virtual freedom race. I know my background, I keep going back and forth. Oh, there it is, there it is. Can you see me? Lean with it, rock with it. Hey. But we are racing for freedom, and we have the opportunity of partnering with two great organizations that are doing the work. They are boots on the ground, hands on, helping those that have been unfortunately felt into the victim of being human trafficked, or being a part of an organization that held them hostage, or prostitution. There's so much there, and we're going to talk about it as we go throughout our race today. So I want to just thank each and every one of you that have reached out, that have shared prayers, that are still praying, and you still have the opportunity of donating. We're going to talk about how you can do that as well, because this does not end today. This does not end tomorrow. Unfortunately, we're talking about a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar organization that is built on others being slaves. Let's call it what it is, modern day slavery. But before we dive into all of that, I definitely want to open up in prayer. And I am just grateful again for this opportunity that has come. This is my first time doing something like this. So y'all bear with me. I know some people are like, well, what are we doing? When are we doing it? How are we doing it? And I try to get to everyone, but ultimately, we're going to do this again, y'all. This is not the last time. It is the first time, but it's not the last time, because I truly believe that this is going to be an international movement to bring awareness back to the importance of human trafficking. Just this week, I believe there was a meeting in Washington, D.C. about human trafficking. And there are several things that were put on the plate. Of course, I wasn't there, so I can't speak to it, but I'm sure we're going to see some results coming from that meeting. And I am praying for an intervention more than ever before. So before we even, like I said, go further, I just want to open up in prayer. Father, we thank you for this time. We thank you for this opportunity. First of all, we thank you for giving us life. We thank you for giving us the opportunity to wake up this morning. For those that are seeing it now or that will see it later, Father, I thank you that you have given this privilege to be able to bring awareness about this horrific topic and industry. But God, I thank you that you are going to do something, and you are doing something great, and you are doing something mighty. You're doing something amazing, even with our partners, which are Pursued International in Kingston, Jamaica, and Selah Freedom that is in Tampa, Florida, and all the other organizations that are around the world that are working very hard and diligently to help people coming out of human trafficking, even going into rescue individuals that are in human trafficking. So, Lord, I thank you for the donations. I thank you for those that have learned even about human trafficking just from this movement, this campaign, this race. And Lord, I thank you for the opportunities that will come to be able to share even the more from this day forward. Lord, we continue to lift up those that are doing the heavy work, those that are laboring, those that are in the trenches, God, that are going in and they are working with young women, young men, older women, older men, teens and children. Dear God, we even thank you for the law enforcement and the task forces that have been created to go specifically in and to get people out of human trafficking and to ensure that justice is served, dear God. So I thank you for all the entities that are involved in helping people coming out of human trafficking. And God, I just pray that this will not be the last time for those that may hear or see what we're doing. I pray that this will not be the last time that they get involved. I pray that this will not be the last time they think about this topic. But I pray, Lord, that you will put a burden in our hearts and in our spirits to be helpful in some way, shape, or form. So I thank you for today, and I thank you for those that are participating with us. And I give your name praise, honor, and glory in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. So I know some people are probably like, Melissa, what in the world are you doing? Where did this come from? Why are you even doing this? And ultimately, I'll have to tell the full story, but the purpose of this is to, number one, raise awareness about this topic, about human trafficking. And sometimes when we hear it, and we heard a lot about it maybe even a year or two ago, and it was huge, and then it started to die down again. And the unfortunate part is that's the problem. It comes up ever so often. It's huge. It's a big to do. Everyone's up in arms, and we got to do something. And then it fades. Here's the problem, though: the individuals that are involved, the individuals that are being trafficked, the individuals that are being used in the labor forces, individuals that are being used in other capacities, they're not forgetting about it because they're in it. And they're praying, probably more than likely, I'm sure, for someone to help them to get out. They're praying for somehow, some way, for them to be able to be rescued. But unfortunately, we hear it. It's like the hype word with the hashtags, and then it dies down, and many of us go back to our regular lives, never to be thought of again. But what if it was your sister, your brother, your child, your loved one, your friend that was tricked, that was taken, that was sought after, that was even used? Unfortunately, one of the things we're going to talk about, the theme for this year, is even in digital scams. And they were promised help for their family. These individuals were promised something. And now they're being held against their will to do things they don't want to do. But we don't think about it because it's not happening directly to us. But we're going to talk about that today. And I do pray and I hope that, if for nothing else, you become educated also about how to ensure safety for yourself and for others, being more aware, even with your surroundings, being aware of what to teach your children so they are not brought into things that they shouldn't be a part of. And so, my ultimate goal, yes, the financial piece was there, but my ultimate goal is to educate and equip and empower all that are hearing this message or will read anything that I've posted in these past few months about this topic, because it is so important that we are educated about this. There's a young lady that I met, and this is kind of going ahead of my whole program, but there's a young lady that I met in Jamaica. And unfortunately, she's in the system, we'll put it that way. And when she said, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be here, I have to be intoxicated in order to do what I do. And I don't like that. The same young lady had the most beautiful voice. And she sang while we were there. And oh my gosh, she could have brought any house down in any church or any establishment. The most beautiful individual, you can tell on the inside. But unfortunately, due to circumstances, life situations, and we don't know what happened in order to get to that point, she's finding herself in a place where she feels like she cannot get out. And when I tell you, that has continued to stick with me for years now, and even prior to that, finding out a 5-year-old in our school system was almost trafficked by their parent. The most beautiful little girl was on her way to being sold by her parent. Who knows where that little girl would be today had it not been for individuals recognizing signs and putting things together and making a report that saved that little girl. There are so many, unfortunately, that have been put in these situations by a loved one, by a parent, by someone saying that they'll promise them something. And unfortunately, they've been tainted even as a young age as 5. What do you say to a 5-year-old whose parent sells them into sex trafficking? What do you say to a teenager that a friend had invited them over and the friend's parent gets them involved in things they never thought they would have been involved in, and yet they go back to school like nothing's happened? And these are things that are happening every day. So why we're doing what we're doing, if for nothing else, I want to ensure that you, again, are educated, that you're equipped, and you're empowered to be able to take steps should you ever find yourself, unfortunately, recognizing that someone is in need of help. Someone is in need of support. Someone needs to be saved, and you'll be able to know what to do and how to do it. So that's our main focus and purpose. The other is because we're supporting visions of 2 great organizations, and we'll talk about them in a little bit and give you more details about them. Again, Race4Freedom, which is here in Tampa, Florida, and Pursuit International, which is in Kingston, Jamaica. And these 2 entities I became familiar with over the past few years and have been following their work. And again, they are hands on, boots on the ground, in the trenches, helping individuals coming out of human trafficking, out of sex trafficking, out of prostitution, and working with them to get them back on their feet, to be back into, working in society, so to speak, but also just to get their lives back. And there's so much that goes with that. So we're here to do that. And again, also here to equip our communities through education. So this year's theme, and we can actually go to the next slide, or the first slide rather, just to give you some insight. This year's theme is all about helping individuals. As stuff starts shifting in my room. But this is all about helping individuals, and how we're going to do that is doing this race. So we're doing an international 5K, meaning international virtual 5K, meaning you can walk, you can run, you can do whatever, wherever, literally. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to go outside myself, and we're going to be walking and talking together. But you can walk, you can run, you can, I said, push the stroller if you need to, because ultimately we are here to make a worldwide impact. This is not just happening in Florida. This is not just happening in the US. This is not just happening in the islands. This is a nationwide issue. And so this race is to also bring awareness, because on July 30th, it is World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. So we are acknowledging and we are bringing awareness to this. And again, we'll probably run this again next week on the 30th, because this is an international issue. The theme for this year, and we can actually go to the next slide, is trapped behind the scam. So this year, the focus is looking at people that are across the world being held against their will and being used to exploit and to bring fraudulent systems. We get all these text messages and emails and all these different things. And it was interesting while doing my research that this was actually part of human trafficking. Individuals are being held against their will and being forced to create these cyber crimes and financial frauds and different things that are going on, which makes me even think of when I get that text message a little differently. Granted, you're not going to get my money, and I'm going to do everything I can to ensure that I'm not falling victim to fraudulent activity. But now, when I'm getting a message or I'm seeing an email or someone tells me that they probably got a scam call or something like that, now I'm thinking, who's behind that? Is this a teenager being held against their will? Is this a mom that was promised food for their children and now she's being forced to do these things, create these things? Is this a father that thought he was going in for a job that could provide for his family or even for just himself? And here we are. Is this person being held against their will, or are they at gunpoint? Are they in shackles? Are they in chains? Are they locked in a room? Or are they being I mean, this is where my mind has been going for the past few weeks, because now I'm informed. Not that it makes it right, but I'm informed that when I get something like that, it could very well be someone that's being held against their will to create the scam. It could be a child being held against their will and used in other ways. So, this is the theme for 2026, but I want us to think of it as the theme forever. Praying and interceding and doing something for organizations or with organizations, or maybe even you yourself may be moved to do something in regards to bringing an end to human trafficking. Today is going to be a race day and into tomorrow as well. And so, how you can help is by one, doing something for yourself, being physical, being active. We're going to go outside in a minute because we need to walk, we need to move, we need to get our exercise, get our steps in. And how you do that is simply by getting your steps in. If you can't go outside, you can walk. Another area, if we put up that other slide, I'm not a runner. Okay. I know says 5K, but I'm not a runner. I'm a walker. And sometimes I'm like, well, how many steps does it take for me to get into, whatever I'm supposed to do? My sister does the 10Ks and the half marathons. And I'm like, how many steps is that exactly? So if you want to just go outside or stay in your house, you can do that too. And you can make sure that you calculate it by minutes, or you can calculate it by steps. You can take the little one out if you have a little one. If you have a couple people in the neighborhood, or even coworkers, you can continue walking even into next week. This was designated again just as a walk day. This is Saturday the 25th, but ultimately, again, my goal is for this to continue on even after today. So, next slide. In order to complete a 3.1 mile walk or run, if you're a walker, you're looking at about 6 to 7,000 steps, okay, or as close as you can. You may say, I can't do all that. These knees are doing something else. I can't walk that far. That's fine. Just do something. If you want to walk according to time, approximately 30, 45 minutes. If you're running, you may get it done. Some people are just super, fast, or super long legs, not my testimony. They may run it within 20 minutes, 25 minutes. However you do it, I say just go for it. Again, you could even be in your kitchen, walk around the island a couple times, whatever you do. And as you're walking, just think about, again, the purpose of why you're walking. If you'd like to still participate and donate, you can do that as well by still going to our race page, and you can sign up. You can donate there. You can be a sponsor there. Or if you'd like to continue to support in some way, shape, or form, we'll put that information up on either platform with Pursuit International or with Say Love Freedom. You're more than welcome to do so and continue the work for them and with them. So we're going to talk some more about all that this is encompassing. And again, today is going to be a combination of learning more about this topic as well as getting your steps in. So I'm actually going to lace up my own shoes and my own boots, and I'm going to take myself outside. But while I do that, I want you to watch this video or listen if you're already walking. And this is just going to give you a little bit of insight about Pursuit International and the work that they are doing by also bringing awareness to their community.
Nobody chooses and wakes up one day and says, guess what, I think I want to sleep with people for money. When I was being sold, it was so much. Some days it feels like I would have 40 different dates in a day.
When I first was with my trafficker, he pulled me off the street, so I didn't have anything. He clothed me, fed me, taught me everything I needed to know, drugged me, so I was like content, moldable, and happy. You end up owing them for things, for clothes, for food, for the drugs. I was not allowed to hold on to my money because they trap you.
I was the girl that thought it would never happen to me. It doesn't happen to captains of the cheerleading squad. That doesn't happen to students with a 4.0 GPA. But it does. Okay, with morning huddle, I ask that you give me 3 things you're grateful for. I began to get abused at 3, and as it is too often, by the hands that should have protected me and kept me safe. First by my brother, later by my father. I endured this from the time I was 3 until I was 12. As statistics show, you run away at 12. Boy, did I ever run. I couldn't get far enough away from it. As a girl is typically in the life from 5 to 7 years, and takes 7, 8 points of contact before they're ready to enter the program. And after 5 to 7 years, they usually end up in a courtroom. Thankfully, I didn't end up in a courtroom. I stood in front of Judge Malucci of Bradenton. She looked at me and she said, you need Say Love Freedom. I didn't know a program like this existed. I just thought that I would be labeled as a prostitute. Nobody would hear my backstory. I didn't know what life could be like. I didn't know I had a future.
What's your name for your name? What are you about to do, Taylor?
Right. Okay, I will get an advocate. Can you grab an advocate to show them how to sign in, please? Hey.
We have a huge tourist population that comes here. We have a lot of conventions. So very much the mindset of what happens on vacation or at the convention doesn't necessarily go home with me. By the age of 17, I was approached and propositioned by somebody as a minor, ended up being trafficked essentially by that person, and was in the life from about the age of 17 until 24. My role at Say Love Freedom is to be able to connect with survivors from the very first point of contact. So now we are getting ready to go on the strip where there is a lot of hotels where we know sex trafficking has been happening, and a lot of victims out on the streets in this area. Hi, how are you? Good. Do you work here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm Misty. Hi, nice to meet you. I was just out making contact. I work for, have you ever heard of Say Love Freedom?
I think I have.
You don't think you have? And so I've just been out kind of making contact to girls, not knowing if they need any help with anything. So I don't know if that applies to you if you're...
Do you have a card?
I do. I have our hotline card. So primarily we help women that have ever had any history of exploitation. Do you know what that means? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have a lot of resources from safe housing to help with job placement to trauma therapy. So, yeah.
Oh, you have to work today?
Yeah. And are you safe right now? Are you from here?
Yeah.
well, I'm from up north originally, but I've been here a few years. Yeah, I'm okay, I think. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I mean, she was very emotional meeting with her. But I did offer to just go meet with her and have a cup of coffee. And that way we could talk about maybe what her needs are.
What happens when you blame? Are you going to find a solution blaming anything?
I was literally trying to blame like a certain person or like situations for my last like relapse, but in all reality it was me just focusing on the negative.
I love it when those light bulbs go off. You finally make that connection. That's huge.
When I first heard about Selah, I wasn't sure that I had trauma. I couldn't call my trafficker a trafficker when I first got here. It was the situation. I thought I was bad, and that's just what happened to people like me. But once I saw that and really got to know myself and love myself enough to call it for what it was, to call it abuse, to call it rape, to call it molestation, then I realized like how affected I really was.
I came to Selah to change my life. There's a lot of therapy, which is what I needed because I've dealt with like my addiction, but I wasn't dealing with like the root cause of like why I was using.
Selah is built so you obtain things gradually. I went through college while I was in the program. I graduated while I was in the program. So I was stable mentally, physically, emotionally with wraparound services. I never had to face any challenge alone. Flashbacks, anything that would be triggering, they were there at every moment to guide me, to help me, to get to where I wanted to be. I've almost been on staff with Selah for almost a year now. It keeps me healthy. It reminds me when I walk through the door of assessment and I can relate to the women and what they're really walking through. It's been a huge blessing in my life to be able to pour the tools that Selah has given me and that health into the next survivor, but also to be able to relate where they're sitting.
I can say without a shadow of a doubt that if I hadn't come to Selah, I would have picked up again. I would be dead right now. I've been given my opinions back, which is awesome. You know, I've had them, but I've never been allowed to share them, and that goes back to childhood. And I've learned this last year and a half that I want to be heard.
Wow, talk about powerful. I am blown away. And I told y'all it's going outside, right? So we're not getting our steps in. I'm getting mine in too. I can't talk about it and not be. So if you haven't made your way out, it was a nice little toasty. I don't even know how hot it is today, but either way, we're gonna get these steps in. Okay. So I thank you. Freedom. They are in Tampa, working all throughout the state, but their primary location is in Florida. And topics, and this topic resonates with you so that you're able If you work, I love where you are. If you are in another state, another city, please, by all means, let us know where you are so that we can be a part of helping you and helping your organization do the work that they're doing. Now, hopefully, I know sometimes being outside, things get a little crackly, so hopefully you. But another thing, here we go. Hopefully you can hear me now. So Race4Freedom is again here in Florida, but they are doing great work as they're going into communities. As you see, they're going into locations that are truly in need of that help, and they know where they are. You saw that they're working with those that need the help after being rescued. They need counseling, they need education, they need housing. There's so many needs, and they're doing that work. And so that's why we're partnered with them and partnering with them to continue to bring awareness and bring that support to those of human trafficking. I meant for about this being the is the mere fact that we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We don't know what's going on with individuals as they are unfortunately. Their will. And what I'm going to actually do is what I'm going to services video back with my steps in a little later.
All right, I hope that gave you a little bit more insight about why we're doing what we're doing. And that was from Pursued International. That was their opportunity to give us some more details and give their audience, their community, more details about how they are teaching, equipping, and empowering others. So my little walk outside didn't work out so well, but it's okay. That's why we can readjust, adapt, and we can shift some things. So what I am hoping that you learn from this is a little bit of also the numbers that we're dealing with and learning about the statistics that are out there. And some of these numbers may surprise you. Some of these numbers may not. Some of them may shock you. Some of them you may be like, that's it, or oh my God. Either way, I'm just sharing a few things with you again as to why we're doing what we're doing and bringing awareness and education to this topic. So, some of the victims that find themselves involved in human trafficking often can be runaways. And so, the statistics are that 1 in 3 runaways, 1 in 3 are solicited or will be solicited for sex within 48 hours of leaving their home. 1 in 3. And although it says solicited for, and my apologies if you have little ones around, you may get some more words that you might not want them to hear yet as they're learning, but they probably have already heard it, to be honest. So just saying. But 1 in 3, that is a high number. And if you think about some of the individuals that are also coming out of or in foster care, oftentimes that's where a lot of the victims have been promised, again, a home. They've been promised to be taken care of. They've been promised to be a part of a family. They've been promised so many things. And unfortunately, before they know it, they are brought into a lifestyle that they can't get themselves out of. I shared a little bit about my time in Jamaica, and I was with Pursuit International a few years ago. Met one of the young ladies that was in her early, I would say her early 20s, and she's been a part of the lifestyle since she was 11. 11 years old. And since 11 years old, she's not able to get out of the lifestyle because of the ownership. I'll put it that way, since little ones might be around. And the owners at times putting weapons to her head or hitting her in the face or abusing her in one way, shape, or form. And so she can't leave, because if she does, she may not live. Can you imagine at 11? Can you imagine even younger or at any age? Doesn't matter. Doesn't make it right. But I'm saying these numbers because I want us to understand the gravity of what we're talking about and what we're dealing with. These are babies. Babies that are being sold. Again, as you saw in the video, sometimes by a family member. And they know what they have to do when they get home, or even in the community, they may be known for what can be done because a family member or a friend is selling them out for financial gain. And then some of our young people that are involved have to put their face back on, put their uniforms on, put their shoes on, put their clothes on, and go out as if nothing happened. Because if they say something, that could mean trouble. If they say something, that could mean their family would be in trouble. I had a colleague in Delaware. I'm also a licensed therapist in Delaware and here in Florida. And we had a situation where they found out that one of their clients was almost actually trafficked by a friend's parent. They went to the friend's house, had been there for a few times, played, hung out, high schooler. And the friend's parent approached them saying, how would you like to make some money real quick? How would you like to be able to buy yourself, I forgot whatever it was. And thank God that individual said something to my colleague, because they were able to intervene. These are some of the things to listen for. Your child or your teen or your niece, your nephew, a young person say, someone said I could make some money. And sometimes, we've prayed that they have a good head on their shoulders. But the reality of it is sometimes they're young people. The brains are not developed. They're not fully developed yet. And if it's a friend, someone that they trust, says, hey, just follow me and we're going to go over here, or just, we're going to go around the corner real quick. They may go because they trust them. But we also want to equip our young people and our children that, number one, if you don't know where you're going and you don't know what's going on, don't go. Call, I'll come pick you up. Call your parent. I'll come get you. And if you're like some parents, they're not going with them anyway. But you just never know. Anything can happen anywhere. So another set of numbers I want to bring your way, just again, so you're aware. This again is a $99 billion industry worldwide. Worldwide. There's a lot being made off of individuals because unfortunately, you can sell things and it works for a while, but with an individual, with a human, and this is the thought process, with a person, they can be sold over and over and over and over and over and over again. Used over and over again. Billions of dollars are going into this. And according to the U.S. Department of the State, we have over 27.6 million victims worldwide. And that's not counting those that have not been reported or have not shared their story or are still, unfortunately, victims today. Millions worldwide. But then how do you break this down? Looking at this, we have, and this is coming from the 2024 numbers. So there's the 2025 numbers are being released soon. So you may see some updates coming up about that, or you may even see it in the news. But ultimately, we have 44% of trafficking cases that are in the labor force. Then we have 33% as it relates to sexual exploitation. But the number that scares me and that brings me to tears is that in the middle, 85% are unreported. Never to be known, never to be shared or seen. 85%. And then globally, when we look at it, again, this is based on what's being reported. So just imagine what the numbers would be for if everything was truly reported, but we have 1 in 10 victims that are identified in the system globally. And then we have 10% of identified victims that are referred to. And I'm reading this only because I'm not insulting your intelligence, but just in case anyone's just listening and not able to see the slide. 10% of identified victims are referred to as long-term support services. In the game forever. How crucial is that? And so if we even take it a step further, as we look at some of the breakdowns as it relates to how many are women or girls, approximately 71%. How many are men or boys? Approximately 24%. And again, this is also looking from 2013 through end of 2024. And the numbers for 2025 are being released soon. And then we have about 5% that are children. This is also based on what's reported. This is also based on what's being deemed as trafficking. Because in some places, in some countries, in some cities, in some states, this isn't a problem, quote unquote. There's not an issue here. We don't have that problem. That's other places. You would be surprised. But we hope that others are going to recognize that this is an issue, and together we can bring light and shed light to what is needed, to the support that's needed, and how to bring individuals home and bring them back to safety. So, some more data to share with you. Again, the known cases by law enforcement is it's going up, which is a positive thing. Like, there are some locations that now have task forces specifically for human trafficking victims and situations, and so they're trained in how to go in to rescue. They're trained in how to work with the victims and how to get them connected to other resources. There's some states that have specific organizations and entities that work together when they do get a trafficking case. And so I applaud those states for doing so. Again, unfortunately, though, many of the victims are never known, never identified, or don't come forward for one reason or another. There are also reports and things that are different, as I mentioned, in various states. I really do hope and pray that we are able to get a unified system across the board, but we know how that goes with a lot of things. But ultimately, at least it's being discussed and it's being shared and it's being promoted and it's being dealt with. And so that I am grateful for, at least within the US. It's not happening so much in other parts of the world. And we don't really have a good data source as to see how many people are being touched and educated in the community. But this is why we're doing what we're doing. Because ultimately, anyone that sees this video, even if they just see a part of this moving forward, they're going to get something out of it and they're going to know what's happening in the world around them and in their states, or maybe even pique an interest to be able to learn more about this. And again, what you can do, what your community can do, what your churches, your organizations, your business can do. Even just going into the airports, I'm so happy that things are being promoted and posted in other places. I was in, I think, New Orleans, and where was I before that? Can't remember, but somewhere else. And in the bathrooms, almost in every bathroom I've been to in various airports, there is information on the back of the stalls about human trafficking, and they have it in different languages. So that if someone is in need of help, or you know someone that needs help, there's information of how, in that particular state, of how you can get help and support. So kudos to a lot of the locations that are doing so. Kudos to some of the hotel chains. Unfortunately, there are some, I don't know if y'all remember, there are some that got in trouble because they knew what was going on in some of their locations and they didn't say anything. And I pray that they get all that is coming to them. I'll put it that way. Because if you know that someone is doing something inappropriate, then there is no way, shape, or form you should continue to allow that. But that's neither here nor there. So, in addition to all of that, we also have in the regions, and this is why this is international, because it's not just happening in the US, it's happening everywhere. It's happening on every continent, probably except for Antarctica. But here we have over 46% in Asia, in the Pacific. We're looking at about 20% of human trafficking occurs in Africa. And it says 18% in Europe and Central Asia. But again, I truly believe these numbers are much higher. But this is based on what has been shared. This is based on what has been brought to the awareness of the states and the regions. And this is coming from the World Metrics organization. And you can go on there and you can review this as well on your own if you want to do a deeper dive. But it's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. And so this is why having partners like Sailor Freedom and Pursuit International is so important, because they are doing some major work. And again, if you're in any other area, when you see this, if you are a part of an organization that's helping human trafficking victims, if you are in an organization or you're aware of an organization that you think we need to connect with and highlight, please share that information. You can put it in the chat. You can send me an email. You can send it to me via my website. My email, which we'll put in the chat in a moment, is mkhart@toolsts.com. That is MK, the word heart, at tools, TOOLES, the letter T, the letter S.com. Or you can reach me on my website, toolsts.com. Again, TOOLES.com. I would love to connect and learn about what other organizations are doing and how we can be of support. If for nothing else, how we can even highlight you in our next walk and share the great work that you're doing. And so just to give a little bit more about our organizations, we're here with, well, we're not here right now, but we're promoting and we're sharing Pursuit International, which they just turned 7 years old. Woohoo! Go Pursuit. They turned 7 years old just a few days ago. And I am so honored to have been able to walk alongside them and walk with them and be present with them while they were ministering and working with others and ministering to the women that they work with often. And it was just an honor and a privilege to even have that opportunity and to see them and to see the numbers of things that they gathered and the supplies that they've gathered and taking care of, giving food and giving clothing, giving supplies to their loved ones and to the children that are a part of the entities that they work with. And so they've been doing a lot of work in also connecting with the government and doing work in that arena as well. And so for those, again, that are listening and you're not able to see this information, just to give you a quick tidbit, it says Pursuit International is a nonprofit organization dedicated to combating human trafficking, sexual exploitation, and the long-term effects of trauma through advocacy, education, and survivor support. They're founded by therapist, advocate, and assault survivor Stacey Ann Smith. The organization works to empower vulnerable women and children by providing trauma-informed care, prevention training, community outreach, and practical resources that promote healing and restoration. Pursuit International also partners with schools, churches, law enforcement, and community organizations to raise awareness and strengthen prevention efforts. Through initiatives focused on mental wellness, empowerment, and anti-trafficking education, the foundation seeks to create safer communities while helping survivors reclaim their voice, their dignity, and their future. And so this is what we are so excited for to see Pursuit International moving forward in all that they do. And they can be found on pursuitinternational.com. You can go onto their website and be able to see all of the work that they have been doing. Again, I can't even begin to give you the true emotions that came while working with them a few years ago. And it was just profound because many, again, of the women and young women too, they were doing just great work with them. They prayed with them, they sang with them, they just listened to them, and they were able to also come alongside them. And some of them even shared that with the ladies from Pursuit, and they're all volunteers, by the way. They just felt heard and not judged. And that was powerful. And that is powerful because these are still individuals, these are still human beings. And they should not be looked down upon or frowned upon because they are victims of others taking advantage of them. And so I can't stress enough how proud I am and how grateful I am. Stacy and I actually went to school together many moons ago. How it feels like now. And so to see her work and to see her doing all that has come to pass in these past few years, doing things even just out of her own pocket to provide and to ensure that people had what they needed or did the best that they could get, sacrifice upon sacrifice. And her story is incredible. You can also find them on social media. And so if you go to Facebook or you go to YouTube, you can also find them there, and you'll be able to see more about their story as well. So I encourage you to check them out and go through and look at their information. If you would like to make a donation to their page, you can do so. They're on their website. They also have educational materials as well. And so I encourage you to go forward and really do a little deeper dive into Pursuit International. And as we shared their videos earlier, they do a lot of great work. They talk about myths and facts of human trafficking. They, as she mentioned, they go to schools. And so there's just so much that they're doing on the island, and they hope to expand for the future. We also talked about Selah Freedom. And again, this organization too doing great work here in, oh, sorry, I lost my page. Doing great work in the state of Florida and in the Tampa area, or Hillsborough County and other areas. And they have been doing this work since 2011. And so the founder has been a true advocate to ensuring that many are aware and know what is going on in the community, how to help, how to support. And so we honor her as well, Miss Lori Swink. We thank God for her and for her team and her staff that is doing just amazing, amazing work as well. And Selah Freedom, they are doing, again, like you saw in the video, trainings, they have workshops, they're providing homes, and they're providing locations for the survivors to come in and to be able to have a safe place and a safe space, and so that they can start their lives over again. And so Selah Freedom is a faith-based anti-human trafficking nonprofit organization, again, based here in Florida. Their mission is to end sex trafficking and bring freedom to those exploited through 5 core programs: awareness, prevention, outreach, residential, and consulting. Their mission is to end sex trafficking. Their awareness educates adults and supports fundraising, donor engagement, media, and events. They have prevention, which equips K through 12 students with age-appropriate tools to recognize and prevent trafficking. In their outreach, they meet survivors where they are, working alongside law enforcement and the 12th Judicial Circuit to provide case management, advocacy, trauma-informed care, legal aid, and stabilization support. Their residential program offers safe housing with 24/7 wraparound care for 18 to 24 months, including life skills development, education, career planning, and trauma therapy. And then in their consulting, they are training organizations and communities to effectively respond to trafficking and build successful, safe home models. And so Selah Freedom is another, again, entity that just gives all of they've been working hard to give all of the support that's needed to individuals that are coming out of the lifestyle, those that are in need of getting rescued from the lifestyle. And I say lifestyle because sometimes that's what we think it is. That's not a choice. No one chooses to be enslaved. No one chooses to be used. And so I want us to just think about this topic in a different light. I want us to really think about this topic not just as another hashtag, not just as another thing that was talked about on the news or another thing that comes up here or there, but truly think about the people or the person that is behind all of this, screaming for help, and no one's hearing them. I want you to think about that. Think about the individual that wants help more than anything else and may not even just know how to even ask for help, because there is also a lot of manipulation, a lot of brainwashing. Uh, um, Ultimately, they are fearful. Again, some of them have been threatened that their loved ones could be hurt, they could be hurt or exposed. There are just so many factors. And this is just scratching the surface about this topic. So I do encourage you to take it a step further. Check out their pages. Again, we have Pursuit International's YouTube page in there. We have Selah Freedom's website there. Look into them. And if you know of another organization or entity that's working in this industry and in this area, please share. We would love to be able to highlight them and come alongside them as well, because this is important. This is not just a state issue. This is not just a United States issue. This is a worldwide issue, nationwide issue. And so, if you'd like to be of support and you would like to help, our goal for this initial race was $20,000, with the goal of giving this to both entities, giving $10,000 to each entity. Didn't quite make it this year, but that's okay, because guess what? Like I said, we're gonna do this again, y'all. This was my very, very, very first time putting this together, putting even a race of any kind together. And when I tell you some of the challenges, and I'll do a separate talk about that later. But ultimately, when you're fighting against something and you're wanting to bring an end to something like this, it comes with some challenges. But that's all right, because if for nothing else, I know and believe that there are many of you that are now equipped, educated, and will be empowered to do something, say something, get involved, or again, if for nothing else, truly pray for those that are involved, those that are victims, and those that are doing the work to bring this to an end. And so our goal and our mission is going to continue. We are going to continue to raise awareness. We're going to continue to bring individuals together and to bring speakers and share, more about this topic so that others can be informed and can really know how to get involved, or again, the signs of human trafficking, so that you can know where to go in your state or where to go in your nation to get that support and help. And we're going to continue to move forward in ensuring that our communities are equipped with what they need, and even again bringing awareness to the organizations and entities that are doing the work. And so our mission is going to continue to be just that, continue to raise awareness and support those that are doing the work, and mobilizing churches and communities, mobilizing organizations, and building networks for ongoing support. That's not going to change. That is now part of our mission moving forward. Okay. So if you would like to be a part of that, you are more than welcome to do so and join us. And how you can do that, this is still available. You can still come in and you can walk to rest of today, tomorrow. You can run, you can jog. Like I said, you can even push the stroller, whatever you need to do. And you can sign up and register on our page. And so let me get to that real quick. If you want to, you can, oh, yep, I'll go there. You can go to our page, our race page, and you can donate. Again, you can learn even more about the organizations. Their information is up there as well. You can also continue to learn yourself, doing your own research. Some of the web page, it's so easy, y'all. Come on, we can Google. Okay. But you want credible sources. So I would encourage you to go to locations and spaces such as this, or these two websites and these two entities, and just look at the resources that they have provided. And then we can also, again, continue to pray for God to intercede and intervene in this work. And so on our sign up page or on our run page, you can donate. You can, the registration for the race is $35. You can just register for the race, or you can donate separately. Everything is going directly to Selah Freedom and Pursuit International. And so if you are interested in helping and supporting monetarily, you are more than welcome to do so. And it doesn't have to end tomorrow. If you can reach out to me as well, again, like I said, and just say, hey, Dr. Mel, I really want to get involved, or I would love to be able to send information or send funds to these organizations. By all means, please feel free to do so. You can send me some information via my website. I'll put in the chat as well my email again, and connect with me on how to equip and empower your community, your church, or even just your family members. Hey, that's part of what I'm here to do. That is part of my mission, and my goal, again, is to equip, educate, and empower. And so some people may say, well, where is the money and, going to be, and what is it going to be used for? So let me show you real quick what, and this is not all that they do, but this is just to give you some insight as to where and why and how your funds will be utilized, of course, but it's activities and things that are needed for the victims. They also work on, again, community engagement, as you heard from their mission statements. Again, this is Pursuit International and Selah Freedom. There's also operational costs. Everything we do costs something, okay? And I know with Pursuit International, a lot of what they've been able to do, it's donor funded grants, as well as, again, just out of pocket from the founder and the volunteers. And so there's operational costs, and then there's programming and other supports that are needed. Things like care packages for the individuals when they go out, being able to put on events so that they can educate the community. Again, we know there's a cost for everything, y'all. Okay. So this is just a few of the things that are being used, and this is why we are highlighting them in particular and partnering with them, because they have been making an impact in their area, in their region, and we want to continue to see them grow. We want to continue to see them do the work that they're doing. And this is just the surface. Okay. We're just scratching the surface. So again, if you would like to donate, you are more than welcome to do so. You can go on our page. Now, the race page will close after the 26th. However, if you would like to make a donation after the 26th, you are more than welcome to do so by contacting me or going directly to their pages, and you can donate right on their page. Okay. Again, that is with Race4Freedom. The website is in the chat or the comments, and with Pursuit International, you can go to their page as well. So, although my time outside was a little short, I guess my connection decided it didn't want to do what I needed it to do, but it's okay because I'm getting my steps in today. You can do your steps. You could do a quick run. You can do a walk. If it's not scorching outside, we're already in the 80s or so here in Florida. So, you know, take your time, put your sunscreen on, put your hat on, make sure that you're okay. But I do want to thank several of you for one, just being supportive and praying. And you know what? I just realized here it is. I've been talking for over an hour and some change. And some of you are probably like, I don't even know who you are. I'm working on that, y'all. I hope if you're still with me, bear with me. But hey, how you doing? Dr. Mel here. I am a licensed mental health professional. I am licensed in the state of Delaware and in the state of Florida. I have been in this profession for over a decade. Also, former school counselor. I was in the public school system as a school counselor and charter school system for over 13 years. And so I am fully are launching my practice full time, as I have found that it's time to shift and to really move in what God has for me, which is to educate, equip, and empower individuals to live life and live it to the fullest, but also understanding how to do so. And so I am a therapist virtually. I provide workshops, and I'm also a youth mental health first aid instructor, in where I teach companies, schools, organizations, individuals about the signs and symptoms of potential crises as it relates to our youth and young people. And so if you are looking for more information on anything relating to mental health crises, human trafficking, by all means, please do reach out. I've shared my information in the chat, but you can find me on social media at MK Hart. As on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, Melissa K. Hart, or you can find me again on my website, toolsts.com, for Tools Therapeutic Services. And ultimately, I want to see people well. I want to see people whole. I want to see people living the life that they were created, designed, and destined to live. I am a faith-based therapist, however. So let me clarify. I may not be the one to help you with all things, but I can definitely help you get to the person that may be able to help you if you are in need of support as it relates to wellness and wholeness and your mental health. And so I am just honored that I've had the opportunity to connect with these entities again, with Race4Freedom and Pursuit International. I can't, sing their praises enough about the work that they've done. And I want you to go to their pages, go to their sites, see what they've been doing, see all of the work that has been done over the years and what they want to do moving forward. And again, if you know of any other organization that is out there that is doing great work or just doing work to help victims of human trafficking, by all means, please, please, please let me know. Please share their information, because I would love to highlight them and connect with them. Again, next week on the 30th, we are going to highlight World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. It is July 30th, and the ribbon color is actually a blue color, which I'm wearing our bracelets here, by the way. If you do sign up and register, you can also order one of these bracelets here. And the blue in the middle is for human trafficking. Hopefully you can kind of see it. I know these blinds. There we go. The blue in the middle represents the human trafficking ribbon in color, so that we can be reminded of that, all that we're doing is to help the victims of human trafficking. And so those are also on our site for $12. Pretty much if you're not running, walking, or you're like, I can't do that, but you can grab a bracelet. That also helps as well. And so I am again thankful for those that have prayed for us, those that are going to be walking, those that are walking. I want to thank those that helped to remind me of why I do what I do. And this was not as big as I'd hoped. But again, I know many people have at least learned more about human trafficking and have learned more about Pursuit International and Sailor Freedom. And so, even just with that, I am grateful that you are now more equipped and you are more educated on several things as it relates to human trafficking. And so, we're going to have another race. I don't know if it's going to be the end of this year, maybe for my birthday. It's Christmas. So, maybe we'll do a Christmas run. I know in some places you won't be able to go outside, but we'll look into that. We'll see, or at least for the top of the new year. But we're going to do this again because I do believe that there is a need. I do believe that there are other organizations that also need to be highlighted and also need to be able to share. My goal would be for every state to know where there's an organization or an entity in every state that is doing great work so that we can connect you with those resources and we can ensure that those that are in need are getting the help and the support they need. So, with that, I thank you for being with me for this time. Again, if you haven't gone outside yet, get outside, get some sun, get some vitamin D. That's what we need. We need to get some, our energy and get some movement here. And if you can't go outside, walk around in the house. Take a couple steps in the house. Put some music on and get your steps in. Okay? That's another conversation for another day because we need to take care of these temples. We only have one. So we need to do our best to take care of them. Okay? So, with that, I thank you. I love you all. God bless you. And don't forget to live, to ignite, and never entertain. I'm going to say that again. I want you to live, to ignite those around you, ignite your dreams, your passions, your goals, your visions, your dreams. But we are not living to entertain because entertainment gets old. And after a while, you know what happens. You get canceled. So, anyway, I love you. God loves you. And there's nothing you can